Morning, good evening, good afternoon. President Donald Trump has been sworn in as the 47th US president. What will this mean to America and to the world? I think as a nation, America has got very strong democratic institutions that, as much as President Trump may want to throw his weight around, I don't think he'll be able to do so. What do I mean by that? Well, if we look at what President Trump did in his first presidency, I think he did throw his weight around. And as he starts his second term, he has already started throwing his weight around. Some cases for the good. I think most people would agree that the war in Gaza and in the Middle East was something that was a sore point, a disappointing thing for the world. While most of the world watched helplessly, twiddling their thumbs, totally helpless what to do, because America supported Israel. And as long as America supported Israel, the rest of the world was helpless. One has to comment countries like South Africa that took a stand and tried to bring some sanity in what was happening there. But nonetheless, when Trump came in, there's no doubt that he did put pressure on Israel to stop the war. And the war has stopped, at least momentarily. And one hopes that the ceasefire will last and will lead to lasting peace. But given President Trump's tendency to throw his weight, the whole world is watching what will happen next. Will he support a lasting peace in the Middle East? Or will he side with Israel and continue the oppression of the Palestinian people? That is something to be resolved. Watch and see. The other problem is Ukraine. President Trump, during the campaign, said he was going to stop the war in Ukraine. I think the rest of the world doesn't know what he's going to do there. Will he force Ukraine to give up territory in the interest of peace? Nobody knows. It is worrying for the people of Ukraine and the world at large, because President Trump, as much as the people of America have every right to elect who they think is best suited to govern them. It must be said when it comes to international affairs, he has thrown his weight around. And this has given confidence to the despots the world over that they too can throw their weight around. When President Trump lost the 2020 elections, what he did next is something that most people did not expect a healthy and functioning democracy like America would do, and yet he did it. It is, it was, and it is worrying that such events happened because it has only given confidence to dictators, particularly in Africa, who have failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections, to do the same, to rig elections with confidence that they can get away with it. That is a sad indictment to our fight to end dictatorships and their good governance in Africa in particular. But that is something that we have got now to accept as a reality. The other problem here is, as much as President Trump has emphasized this make America great, the way he has pushed that agenda suggests that is he'll do that at the expense of everybody else. He doesn't care about everybody else. That is not very good for the international community that believes in the rule of law. And one of the things about rule of law is that it should protect the weak against the strong. If the strong are free to do as they please to make America great, then the weak are in serious trouble. We in the third world countries are in serious trouble. One of the things that people like Zimbabweans would fear would be America, for instance, lifting its sanctions against tyrannical regimes like ZANU-PF. Because it's in America's interest. There is no doubt that some of the sanctions have stopped American businessmen dealing and trading in Zimbabwe. For example, in the diamond industry, because of ZANU-PF failure to uphold the rule of law. As much as ZANU-PF would argue that the sanctions were imposed because the regime took over the white-owned farms, the fact still remains that ZANU-PF has failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections, and has got no regard for the rights of ordinary Zimbabweans. I've said on this program that Zimbabwe is a failed state because we failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections. If ZANU-PF truly believed that it had no bad human rights record, why has it failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections? Why has it repeatedly rigged elections? So in this particular case, if America was to lift its sanctions against the regime, I think we'll see the rest of the world do the same. The European community, the EU, has all but lifted those sanctions. Although because America is the dominant nation, the fact that they still have the sanctions on the regime is somehow put the brakes on the West, the European countries, really doing brisk business in Zimbabwe. In this particular case, the kind of business we are talking about is purely looting. The diamond industry in Zimbabwe, there's nothing legal about it. All the players there, or most of the players there, are doing brisk business illegally. There's something fundamentally wrong with a business plan where no one keeps the records of the quantity and quality of diamonds they are mining, what their true value is, to who they sell the diamonds, paid how much, and how is the profits shared out. That is the kind of mining concession that ZANU-PF has been signing with those operating in our diamond industry. And this has since been extended by Mnangagwa to other sectors like lithium, gold, and so forth. In 2023, many Zimbabweans were shocked to listen to the details of how the looting of the country's gold was taking place. Up to 2 billion US dollars of gold was being shipped from Zimbabwe. And only 20% of it was being done legally. The other 80% was being smuggled. If there was to be a free for all, that kind of activity would go up even higher. And those countries with weak institutions will pay the price. This is what is worrying about having a nation as big as America, as influential as America, led by somebody who doesn't seem to have any regard for the rule of law and for common justice. Someone once said that President Trump, and former President Richard Nixon have a lot in common. Whereas Richard Nixon, during the Watergate scandal, tried to pretend that he was innocent, he had done nothing wrong. There will be no whitewash in this Nixon administration, he would boast, when in reality he was doing exactly that. In the case of President Trump, some people have said that his attitude, particularly when you look at the elections, the 2020 election results, and the way he tried to get officials to change the results, his attitude is, it's unlawful, so what? And that is worrying indeed, because particularly countries like Zimbabwe, who are ruled by dictators, that will only give them the confidence that they can do the same and get away with it. That is a route we in the third world countries should not even think of going down. We do not have strong institutions to maintain the rule of law. Countries like America have strong institutions to restrain a president if he should try to overstep the mark, as we saw happened when President Trump tried to change the results. In Zimbabwe right now, one of the engaging issues is Mnangagwa's attempt to have the 2028 elections postponed so that he could save beyond the maximum two-term limit. Mnangagwa has no regard for the law. And when a big country like America does the same thing, it only encourages people like him to do the same. And that is a matter of serious concern to ordinary Zimbabweans. Think about it. Well, in concluding, one can only wish President Trump all the success in the coming 4 years. And one can only hope that he will show and will govern that great country with restraint for the good, not of only America, but good of the world. America's greatness does not have to mean that somebody else suffers. That is the message. Thank you very much for listening, those of you who were able to join. Hope we'll be able to do it again tomorrow. 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. Good night.